Are you torn between manual trading and using a trading algorithm? Do you know the benefits of one over the other? Knowing how to choose between manual and algorithm and why you're making that decision is the key to long-term trading success. And in this video, we're going to show you how to decide which strategy is right for you. But first, I'm Pepper. This is Godly Trading, and thank you for being here. There are a lot of videos out there promoting one over the other, and I'm not here to tell you which one is best for you. Instead, I'm here to show you how to make that decision for yourself. In the Bible, in Philippians chapter 4, Paul is talking to his friends back at the church of Philippi that he had helped found, and he says this to them. He's talking about the support and the help that they've been giving him, and he says in verse 11, not that I speak with regard to need, for I have learned in whatever state that I am in to be content. I know how to be abased, I know how to abound everywhere, and in all things I have learned both to be full and to be hungry, both to abound and to suffer need. What he is saying here is that he has learned in whichever state he has to be content. And that is a key principle here. One of the issues that comes with choosing manual versus algorithm is that if you don't have a good enough reason for choosing one over the other, then when hard times come, and they're going to come, you might be tempted to look at the grass is green on the other side of that decision and think, well, maybe I should have chosen the other one now. Today in this video, we're going to lay a firm foundation and show you how to choose which one is right for you and how to stand on that choice. Now, I keep using the word choice here, but what we're actually doing is making a decision. I love what Myron Golden says about the word decide. Right? This is from a Latin words together, de, meaning offer from, and side, which means to cut. And what that literally means is it's not a choice. I'll pick this one and pick that one. I might pick this one today, pick that one tomorrow. When you make a decision, when you decide, you are cutting yourself off from every other option. This is not a permanent state. But for right now, if you are trying to decide between these two, what you need to do is we're going to show you how to make that decision. And then you have to cut yourself off from the other option until, this is key, until you have mastered one of them. The best advice I ever heard regarding this comes from Tom Colicchio, who's one of the judges on Top Chef from a very long time ago. I'm not going to tell you how many seasons ago this was. He's telling his contestants, hey guys, you're doing too much. Do one thing and do it well. And so what we're after here is mastery. Now in today's video, we're going to show you how to make this decision, and your goal is to master whichever of these two you have decided to focus on. Hey guys, I wanted to take just a minute to tell you about the new book that has just come out that I wrote. It's called Trading with Joy. And the whole purpose of this book is to help you as a struggling trader overcome the discouragement that comes along with it and to get you out of the pit of despair and back on the road to success before you quit. I have been there so many times before where I was just at my wit's end. I was ready to give up and I wanted to quit. But what I learned through all of that, I have put into this book. This uses the fruit of the Spirit from Galatians as the roadmap. It walks you through all of those steps from self-control to patience, to kindness and faithfulness. It eventually leads you to finding not only joy in trading, but trading with joy. I want that for all of you. I want you to overcome discouragement and get to the point where trading becomes a joyful experience, one that you can spread and share with other people. So go to tradingwithjoybook.com and get your copy today. Now, this decision has to start from a positive perspective. What do I mean by that? We're not going to decide manual versus algorithm based on something that we lack, based on something that we think is going to help us make up for what we're not doing ourselves. What do I mean by that? Well, let me tell you a story. Once upon a time, there was a day trader. Let's call him Pepper. Random name. So Pepper was a typical beginning day trader, kind of a shoot from the hip, undisciplined, and had an issue with over trading. So he decided, hey, I'm going to take all of these areas that I'm not good in, and I'm going to program them into an algorithm so that I will manually enter a trade and then turn everything over to the algorithm, and it will manage the trade for me and just do all of these things that I'm struggling myself. It'll have the discipline that I don't have myself. And you think, well, that sounds like a brilliant idea. And for about a week, it was fantastic. Or so he tells me. It was a brilliant idea until the day came. And it was inevitable that Towards the end of the day, one of the parameters that this particular algorithm had was it would stop trading if the account was either up 1% or down 1% for the day, and it would stop trading, close all open trades about 15 minutes before the end of the market day. So about 20 minutes before the end of the market day, Pepper finds himself with several open trades that had gone against him, and he does not want to lock in that losses. It's a whole other video where you talk about the mentality of a trading loss equals internalizing it and making yourself feel like a loser. That's a whole other video. So rather than close out these trades, because he just knew that if he let these trades run long enough, he just knew they would turn around and he could get out of them or break even and get some of his money back. So he's sitting there watching the clock as it's ticking mercilessly towards that 15-minute mark here in the Central Time Zone, 3:45, and all of his trades would close. And at 3:44 and 45 seconds, he stumbled upon a solution to his problem. Yeah, he reached up and turned off the trading algorithm. And just like that, everything he had hoped to achieve was down the tubes. Now, confession here, in case you couldn't tell, that was me. Yeah. And it seems like such a long time ago, but here are some things that I learned from that experience. Number one, actually, this is probably numbers 1 through 9. Trading discipline is the most important aspect of your entire trading career. You have got to develop discipline, or else nothing else matters. We'll get more of that in a minute. Number 2, you can't choose one or the other of these two options, manual versus algorithm, out of fear, out of a sense of lack. Number 3, if you haven't mastered one of them, choosing both of them is not the best of both worlds. It's the worst of both worlds. And number 4, your choice must move you in a positive direction. Now, look, I don't blame you for being confused on this topic. There is a mountain of information out there, especially on YouTube, where you have people touting one of these is the way to go. And no, the other one is the way to go. It's not your fault for being confused. There is so much information out there. It seems contradictory, but if you look at it, the reality is actually a good news. There are thousands of people, thousands of traders out there making millions of dollars trading manually. And there are just as many people out there making millions of dollars trading with an algorithm. Either one will work. But you have to have put in the work first before you get there. What do I mean by that? Well, first and foremost, before you pick any new strategy and start trading it on an algorithm, you absolutely have to have internalized that strategy. You have to know the ins and the outs of it. So I highly recommend that even if you have an automated system, you need to trade it manually for a brief period of time so that you can know what it is doing and why it's doing it. Because you are ultimately going to be the manager of an algorithm. We're going to get to that in just a minute. So if, let's say you have a day trading or a scalping strategy, this might only take a day or two of trading it for you to fully understand, okay, I know what this system is looking for, I know what it's trying to do, and I know when it's working and when it's not. If you have a swing trading strategy, maybe this takes a week or two. We're not trying to live test the strategy. We're not trying to prove anything here. We're simply trying to acclimate ourselves to this strategy. So step 1, manually trade it for a brief time to understand it. Step 2, find good reasons to trade manually or with an algorithm to make that decision. Now, what is a good reason? Well, let's take, for example, that let's say that you are a manual scalper or day trader and you like to trade the first hour of the New York Stock Exchange open on a 5-minute chart. Well, then your life changes. You get a new job, you move to a different time zone, whatever it is, and suddenly you find you can no longer be in front of your computer during your trading window. This is absolutely a legitimate reason to switch from manual to algorithmic. Or maybe you're one who says, hey, I'm not that interested in trading manually if I'm just going to be replicating what an algorithm can do. Why should I do it myself if something else can do it for me? That is a perfectly legitimate idea. Or you might say to yourself, I've got this strategy that I'm trading on a low time frame, a 1-minute chart, a tick chart, bless your heart. And it's fairly complicated. I've got several steps that I have to go through before I got to make my decision. Then I've got to enter a trade and do my own position sizing. If you're trading on a lower time frame with several moving parts, chances are you may not have the time to make all those decisions yourself. This is absolutely a perfect opportunity for an EA to step in and do this for you. Now, you may have found a theme through all of these, and that theme is time. Time is the number one reason that you are going to use to make this decision. What do I mean by that? The whole purpose of trading is to master it. And your time in trading, your time in your lifestyle, and your time frame are all three the elements that are going to make up how you make this decision. Let me give you an example. Let's say that you are a swing trader and you are trading the weekly chart. Well, you can do that in an hour on a Saturday night. Does it make sense to have an algorithm open on your computer or your VPS 24/7 so that it can do its thing for about 30 seconds once a week? No, right? That's not a situation where an algorithm is really going to help you. Again, like we mentioned before, if you're trading down on a 1-minute chart and you've got lots to do, that's when an algorithm can help you. By and large, time is going to be a factor of how much time do you have in front of a screen and what is your time frame. The higher the time frame that you go, the less benefit you're going to see out of an EA, which is not to say that you can't do it. But at a certain point, what you do manually and what you do with an algorithm are going to be about the same when it comes to higher time frames. Lower time frames, there's a good case to be made that if you're doing anything on a lower time frame, you can hand that over to an algorithm and save yourself some time. So time is your number one critical factor. There's another aspect of time that we need to talk about. How much time is it going to take you to make the switch? If you are switching from a trading algorithm to manually trading, you're going to need to adjust yourself and figure out how much time it's going to take you manually. I myself trade, I trade both. I trade manually on the daily chart. At the end of every day, I have these hotkeys on my keyboard, and I can get what I need to get done in about 5 minutes. But it has taken me a year or so to get to the point, I'm almost trading it robotically, which is ironic, to get to the point where I can make all of my calculations and hit all the buttons that I need to very, very quickly because I've set up my system to maximize my efficiency, to minimize the time there as a manual system. The opposite of that is how much time is it going to take me to convert my manual system into an algorithm? And you might think, well, hang on, how am I going to do that? I don't know how to program. Look, guys, it took me about 3 months and I learned how to code in MT4. And these days, that's pretty much useless because the world is moving on from MT4. But what I have found is there are so many places out there where you can hire someone to do your code for you for $50 to $100. And if you need some resources for that, reach out to us and we can point you in the right direction. But that brings up a whole other set of time issues. It is going to take much, much longer than you think to get all of that information out of your brain and into a code. What I would highly recommend is if you have a manual system that you're trying to get, that you want to hand off to someone to write the code for you, sit someone else down and explain your system to them and have them ask the questions. Well, what happens if this happens? And what do you do in this situation? And what about this? And what about this? And what about this? Because you absolutely have to figure out all of the various scenarios and give that to the person who's writing the code. Computer has no flexibility. It can only do what it is programmed to do. So the time it takes to make that conversion is a consideration. However, this amount of time is generally a one-time affair. Think of it as an investment in the future. You're going to spend a month or so, or 2 weeks, or however long it is, getting this system, this strategy converted from a manual system to an algorithm. And then you don't have to do that ever again, right? You don't have to make that conversion. So time up front, much like starting a business, time up front will save you time later on. Now you may be saying to yourself, well, hey, what if I don't want to convert a system? What if I just want to go buy one? Guys, I need you to hear me about this. Do not fall into the trap of thinking, I'm just going to buy something off the shelf and I'm going to trade it and I'm going to get the exact same results that they got. Look at what they got. Hey, they're promising this amount of return. The only way that you are ever going to get their exact same returns is if you send them your money and have them trade for you. That's investing. That's a legitimate option and a whole other YouTube channel. That's not what we're here for. Do not think that you can have a plug and play, set it and forget it algorithm that someone gave you or that you purchased, and it's going to be magical and do its thing without any human intervention. Every single algorithm out there is going to need constant supervision. Yes, there are some algorithms that learn on their own. You don't have access to those. I don't have access to those. No one is selling subscriptions to those. Those are being kept secret by the big boys. But what you can go out there and buy requires oversight and time on the front end for you to get it up and running. So hear me when I say don't fall into the trap of just buying it and letting it go. You're going to lose money. Anytime you have an algorithm, it is still going to need human oversight and human optimization. You're going to have to take that algorithm and set it up to meet your needs, to meet your personality. The person who designed this thing might be fine with a 20% win rate if it gets him a 50% annual return. And you may think, well, hey, 50% annual return, I'll put up with anything. Will you? Will you? You look at an equity curve and it goes flat for 2 months, or it goes down for 2 months and then takes off. And you think, okay, I can survive that, but you have to live that in real time. So what you have to do when you obtain, through whatever means, someone else's EA is test it for yourself and lay the foundation of trust. We've talked about this in other videos, for yourself. Because if the person who you bought it from or the person who gave it to you says, hey, don't worry, these are my returns, and you go through a 5, 10, 15, 20% drawdown and you've got 2 months of losing trades, that person may have the strength to withstand it because they've tested it for themselves. All you have to go on is their word. Remember the Bereans from Acts. Luke said they were more noble than those from Thessalonica because every single day they tested the scriptures to see if what Paul was telling them was true or not. Paul's up there and he's preaching to them. He's using the Bible, and every day they go, yeah, I hear what you're saying, Paul. I want to believe you. Let me go check. Let me go double check, and then I'll believe you. That's the only way you're ever going to stand firm when trials come. So don't fall into the trap of thinking I can just offload all of my anxiety onto the person who created it and stand on their results. Not going to happen. I don't want you falling into discouragement. The reason that we are here at Godly Trading, we are here to help traders overcome discouragement. Part of that is heading it off before it happens. So algorithms absolutely need human intervention and human oversight on the front end. Now, we've talked a lot about algorithms. What about the manual side of things? Well, one of the negative reasons people might choose manual is to say, well, there's just so much gut instinct and intuition that goes into my trading. I don't trust that a robot is going to have a gut instinct and intuition. Well, they're not going to have gut instinct and intuition. But you're not going to like this. I would venture to say that if you are operating off of gut, off of instinct, you are not trading with proper trade management and trade psychology. A good, successful trading system is one that you can write down on a piece of paper, hand it off to your random Klingon who just got here, and have them trade successfully, right? If it requires your gut instinct, you haven't thought it through enough, and there is a level of discipline that you have not yet obtained. Now, ironically, the best manual traders trade as if they were a robot, both in their mechanical clicking of buttons and in their trade psychology. When making this decision, step number 1 and step number 2 are both, let me take a hard look, realistic look at my time. This is one of the things that we lean on in our course, Simple Stress-Free Trading, is having a trader do a self-evaluation. How much time do I have during my day? How much time do I have to trade with? What is my trade, not only my trading style, what does my trading lifestyle look like? And that will determine one versus the other. So, as it says in Ecclesiastes, we have come to the conclusion of the matter. In the battle of human versus machine, who wins? Well, you do. No, that is not a cop-out. After you have performed a thorough evaluation of your time and you have decided to plant your flag in either the camp of manual trading or algorithm trading, your goal is to master that area, master that domain. And once you have become a master of that domain, then you can absolutely add the other one to it. I myself have both algorithms that I use to trade with, and I have a manual trading strategy. And between both of them, they take me about 30 minutes a day. And right now, there is no reason for me to automate my manual system because my manual system actually allows me flexibility. And you may think, well, doesn't that run counter to your idea of gut instinct? Flexibility is a terrible, it's almost an F word, it's almost a curse word when it comes to struggling traders. Once you have mastered your trading mindset, then flexibility in your trading life is actually a positive thing. Look, guys, there is nothing more joyous than trading from the deck of a cruise ship. But cruise ships don't always have the best internet, and I wouldn't want to be reliant on the cruise ship internet for my trading. So manual trading allows me the flexibility of saying, you know what, I'm just going to not trade, or I'm just going to manage these trades, and I know enough about what's going on to where if I can't get it at 3 o'clock, I can do it at 5 o'clock, and I can make adjustments. It's not worth it to me to have all of those flexibility factors that I know are going to have either a positive or a negative effect coded into an EA when it's just too easy for me to do it manually. The last step, guys, is to look at that time that we've been talking about and evaluate it with regard to return on investment. If I spend 2 months building an EA, building an algorithm, how much extra return is that going to give me versus manual? There's a time versus return evaluation factor that you're going to have to decide for yourself. And that's one that's going to be different for everybody, is the time that you're going to spend making the switch or investing to become master of one going to improve your overall return versus what you're doing now or not. And if you need help with any of that, guys, reach out to us, link down in the description. Hey, be on the lookout when you are doing all of these evaluations, not to get distracted in what you're trading, right? Please watch this video about trading distractions. Anytime you open the door to changing what you're doing now, that mindset of squirrel is going to creep in there, believe me. So with that, guys, I will see you all next time.